I could have been dead 10 years ago. If any of those 3 attempts on my life was successful, I would have been dead. I've always protected who this person is. It just ain't nothing like a mother's love. I envision myself just talking to my camera, but so many times y'all reach back out to me. Y'all subscribe to my email list. Y'all come on my lives. I know y'all are real people. And so I'm being vulnerable. But I'm being vulnerable because I'm hoping that I can save at least one other person. If they talking crazy, if they trying to separate you from all resources, family, money, whatever, y'all get help. By the time they start laying hands on you, get the hell out of there. Because that was one of 3 times he attempted to kill me. Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind HR. I'm gonna do another story time. You guys said that y'all really liked the other one. And so I'm gonna talk about this one. This one's a little heavy for me. It took me a long time to talk about it. When it initially happened, I really didn't tell anybody except one person for the first 5 years. And then I started telling my family. And then at the 10-year anniversary, I realized that I could have been dead 10 years ago, and that if any of those 3 attempts on my life was successful, I would have been dead. So I thought it was time to start celebrating just life, just being alive, just being here. I started talking about it publicly, sharing my story and helping others. And so I think it's crazy for me to have this platform and not know who I can be helping in a time like this. So here goes. So I was about 19 years old and I had met this guy, and we lived together. Out of all these years I've been on earth, almost 4 decades, I've only lived with 2 other people. And in actuality, both lived with me. It was like my place. They came to stay. One came to stay for a short period of time, but this one came, and this was supposed to be us building life together. I had not known that he was abusing drugs. I did know that he was a drinker. He told me he had started drinking when he was 13 years old. That made things different for me. I'm a country girl. I come from a small town. You know, I've witnessed domestic violence in my family. And I think that's one of the things that may have made me like ignore some of the things that were happening, or not really think of it as a problem. I had constantly been getting like non-physical abuse, where it was like control of my money, and like it was like, hey, don't worry about, you know, working, because I was in college. I had just had my daughter and it was difficult balancing it all. So I had a little part-time job on campus, and I was doing like babysitting, and I was doing other things, and it was difficult with one car. And he was like, nah, don't worry about it. You know, I'll work full time. I got us, da da da. Another thing was just like not rushing to like help me get a phone. At the time I had a prepaid phone where I would put minutes on a card to be able to use my phone. So I kept the phone off a lot of times because it started being where like if you receive an incoming text message or something, it'll take minutes away from what you have. Well, I was broke as hell, so I was like, nah, I ain't even know nothing taking minutes away. It took me like later deciding, okay, I'm gonna go get a regular phone that's not a prepaid phone, so I can always have a phone, because I had moved from McClellanville, South Carolina, that's my home, and I moved into downtown Charleston, and that's about what, 50-60 miles away from home. There were 3 different times that he attempted my life. The first time, it was his birthday. I decided to get cake and ice cream and to like celebrate his birthday. Mind you, this person and my mother shared birthdays on the same day, still do. That alone, in my opinion, should have been a big like, oh my God, you're amazing, da da da. You didn't go home to be with your mom, you here with me. Nah. He came in upset because he had heard from his sister that I was sleeping with his brother-in-law. Mind you, I wasn't. My car had broke. He knew my car broke. He didn't help me get the car fixed. We were just working on it over time. And it's crazy because back then I think the car had only cost like maybe $200-300 to get fixed. And my car had been sitting there for like a long time, waiting on us to get the money. And so his brother-in-law would give me rides. So he saw me walking to take my daughter to daycare one day. And so he was like, hey, I'm going to give you a ride. I was like, man, I really appreciate it, because I had been walking like blocks, like one side of downtown Charleston all the way to the other side, and then all the way to the opposite side. I lived in the projects at the time, so I walked from the projects is at the bridge. I'll go all the way on the end of King Street where the daycare was, and then I walk all the way to the other side downtown to go to school at College of Charleston. And sometimes I have to leave really early. I had early classes, so I leave like in the dark with my baby in a stroller, walking through the hood. So the guy saw me walking one day and he was like, hey, I'm gonna give you a ride. And so he gave me a ride, and he was like, man, what's going on? Like, why you walking? I was like, my car broke. And he was like, oh man, let me know if y'all need anything anytime. Here's my number, da da da, you know, we family. I was like, okay, cool. So what I did was I had called him to like pick me up from work. So I lived downtown Charleston. I used to work on Daniel Island. Damn sure need a ride for that. Cabs was too expensive and unpredictable. So one day I called him and he used to like help me. So his wife, which was my ex's sister, had called one day and I was in the car and I was like, hey, how you doing? And she like apparently got upset. Went and told her mom, her brother, I was sleeping with her husband from a ride when they all know my car was broke. So he came in that day. I had already had ice cream and cake, and me and my daughter was gonna celebrate his birthday, and he came in and was like upset. Oh, that's all you got? I thought you had something else for me. I thought you all were planning this and planning that, because me and his brother-in-law was talking about getting concert tickets to take him and his sister to a concert that was gonna happen. Well, the concert wasn't happening yet. The brother-in-law was letting me borrow the money to pay for the concert tickets because he was like, just go ahead and get him a nice outfit. So I spent my money to get him a nice outfit. So I brought the outfit out and I was like, no, we were, but I was going to bring it all out later because I haven't got enough money to pay for the tickets. So here's an outfit for it. Dude went off. Like, he just started yelling and screaming and throwing stuff, and he left. Initially he left, right? So when he left the house, I was like, okay, I'm cool. You know, I guess he gonna go calm down and like come back later. But my feelings were kind of hurt because now it had made sense why when I called his mama and his sister to invite them over, they all had like reasons they couldn't come. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just study because I got schoolwork I need to do while my baby is like sleeping and resting, because my daughter was chilling. I finally got her in the bed, and so she went to sleep, and I was just sitting in my room like letting the TV play, and I was like studying and doing schoolwork. And he comes in, and at this time it's like midnight. I remember sitting on the bed that was up, you know, in the room upstairs, and he came in like real quiet, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, ain't shit, I've been thinking about that stuff y'all had going on, and that's some real messed up stuff, and like calmly just like still upset. Well, I found out later, didn't know at the time, that he went and like snort coke, because I didn't know he was doing drugs. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that he did drink, and he was old enough to drink. I was just like, what? I'm thinking in my head like, this ain't over yet. And just the look in his eyes scared me, and the way that he was talking scared me. The amount of time that went by had already scared me. I'm like, any normal person all this time would have done calmed down. This dude's still upset. So I said, well, you know, it's my mom's birthday too, right? Because I'm like trying to think of a way to be like, yo, mama, come get me. Somebody come get me. Because I was just scared. Like, it just, like a feeling had hit over me. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I'm about to call mama because I was studying. I didn't get a chance to answer the phone. She called earlier. I was like, so I'm going to call mama real quick and tell her happy birthday. So he was like, okay. Mind you, I had already did that. This was me trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get up out of here, right? So I called my mama. I was like, hey, mama, happy birthday. And she was like, thank you. I could hear on the other side of the phone that she knew something wasn't right. And I was like, it's getting late. I already put Naja in the bed, and I've been studying. I just wanted to make sure to tell you happy birthday because I had talked to you today. I guess that was my other cue of, hey, I'm in danger. And she was like, okay. And I said, I'm going to call you first thing tomorrow, though, when I'm going to school. She said, okay. As soon as I hung up, he took the phone. Because at the time, we'd get a house phone because I just had a little prepaid phone, right? So he took my prepaid cell phone and threw it into the wall. So if anybody who ever lived in the projects, you know the wall ain't nothing but bricks, like cinder block bricks. And so the phone just went in pieces. And then he took the house phone, which was a cordless phone, and threw it into me. Y'all, he hit me so hard, I literally thought he had hit me with a brick. Like, I thought he brought a brick from outside and threw it at me. Now, I do have pictures that I just took for myself because CSI came over that night and they took pictures, so I guess I didn't really need them. But I'm going to put those pictures in right here so you can see just how rough things look for me in that moment. And that was that night. That picture is not just from him throwing the phone at me, but the pictures were that night before I escaped. And so that tells you over time, my face swelled up more, bruises became more visible, things like that. He threw the phone at me, and when he threw the phone at me, I just, of course, started crying, but I didn't want to make a bunch of noise because, again, we live in the projects. I'm embarrassed. People right next door to us can easily hear us. He was like, yeah, that's some dumb shit you got going on, blah, blah, blah. And he like got so upset that he just took the covers from the bed and just pulled them off, which pulled all of my school stuff to the floor. Of course, when he hit me with the phone, he break gold earring in. Gold earring had been and that had fell out of my ear, and I almost fell off the bed and I had to like catch myself by the dresser. Like, cause I was trying not to hit the floor cause the floor was like cement. He just ended up dragging me by my foot and just started wailing. While he's doing that, I kind of like got away, and my daughter's room was right next door. And I figured if he see me hold my daughter, he'll stop hitting me. And so my daughter was sleeping. I grabbed my daughter and I hold her up to me because by this time, my face and my neck and my shoulders just feel like it's burning. I just hold my daughter and he was like, what the F you picked that child up for? I'm right-handed, so I'm holding my daughter in my right-hand side, but I'm also like kind of holding her like as a shield, like he would not hit me with this baby in my hand. And he was left-handed, and as soon as it got clear, he just wing at me again, just over and over. And as he's hitting me, like my nose just started bleeding. Like I just started bleeding like crazy, and the blood just started splattering over my daughter's room, going down my shirt, my daughter's shirt. I was like, oh my God, this child ain't saving me. He gonna kill my child. So I had put her down, but of course by this time she don't wake up, but she's like frightened just looking at what's going on. She ain't even crying. And so I ran to go like downstairs, and I'm thinking, let me get out the front door. We live in the projects. It's a weeknight. It's late. The right people ain't outside, but hopefully somebody out there with a heart that's gonna save me. That was my thing. I was like, hopefully somebody out there with a heart who gonna just call the police and get me some help. Bad thing about living in the projects is no snitching existed way back then. That's like a hidden code. I couldn't even make it down the stairs. He like grabbed me and I lost my footing, and I was head first down the stairs, and he was holding me by like barely my shirt, and I could feel my shirt kept ripping. But another part of my shirt was caught onto the banister. Mind y'all, in the projects, the stairs is all cement. Ain't no carpet. There's nothing cushiony to help you in this fall. And so I'm scared because I'm like head down. I was like begging for help by this time. I was like, please just stop. Like, you gonna effing kill me. Like, by this time I'm terrified. I'm like, if you kill me, who gonna raise my daughter? And it's so funny because even through this moment, I know for years I've always protected who this person was. And I'll say protect them in a public atmosphere. If I'm talking one-on-one, I don't mind. But I've always protected who this person is because my daughter was young and I never wanted her to feel any type of way. I finally told my daughter about it when she got old enough to understand, because we had a big argument as to why I wouldn't let her dad come over to my house and why I didn't feel comfortable. And I still find myself like protecting them now. But it was my daughter's daddy, and I'm like, damn, who gonna raise our child? Like, who gonna raise our child? He was like, don't worry about it, because if something happened to you, he was like, we all gonna die. I still to this day don't remember what made him start beating the shit out of me and what made him just leave. And it probably was just me begging. It could have been that he finally paid attention to the screams from my daughter. But when he finally stopped, I just looked at my house. It was just like a disarray. And when he left, I was just so scared. By this time, y'all, my car broke, so I ain't got no car. The house phone gone because he already slammed that into me and break the house phone. And to make sure he broke the house phone, he took the bottom socket because it was a cordless phone. So he took the bottom socket and threw it down the stairs. That went into pieces. My cell phone already broken. I'm in downtown Charleston. All my family in the country. I felt so vulnerable, so scared. But I felt too scared to stay there because he had a key. He could have come back. I stayed until I felt like he was gone, because at first I was like, he's just hanging out outside. Mind you, the project where we live on is like, that was his hood. That's where he grew up at. So I was like, as soon as I hit the door, he gonna be watching. My mind was just rolling with ideas. And then finally I said to myself, F this, I want to live for my child. even if I don't live for me, I won't live for my child. So I grabbed her bottle. Like, I made like 2 bottles real quick. I patted her with clothes. I got the little bag with her little name on it that my aunt had given me. And I just jammed it with clothes for her and a bottle and like just anything of value. I still took my cell phone even though it was broken, and I took like my ID and stuff, and I just started walking through the hood all the way to the other side of town. So I got to a payphone and I called a local shelter, and while she was talking me through the situation, she said I had 2 options. I can come and stay there, and I could come and stay there for like 60 or 90 days. Well, I was too scared that he would know where it was. She said, or we can get you home. And I was like, I live in Charleston County, but it's far. She was like, it doesn't matter, baby. Where you want to go to? I said, I really want to go to my mama. Long story short, we went back to the house, got more clothes, more bottles, stuff like that. They brought CSI, and it had looked like a movie. Like, all of the people with all the CSI shirts and the cameras and everything. I ain't never heard the project sound so quiet at night. Nobody was outside. They went through, cleared it to make sure he wasn't in there, let me get some stuff out. So City of Charleston took me across the bridge to Mount Pleasant, and we met with County of Charleston police officer, and he took me the 50 miles to get home. I didn't get home to my mama's house until 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to tell you right now, ain't nothing like a mother's love. And when we pulled in, the front of our house looked dark, but we always used to pull in through the backyard. So I asked the police officer to pull to the backyard, and he did. And the kitchen light was on, and I could see my mom in there washing dishes at 4 o'clock in the morning. As soon as I walked through the door, by this time I already get a ball cap because I know I look a mess. I don't want to scare her. I don't want to bother her. So I got a ball cap and I put it over and I hold my baby up like this and I said, hey mama, we come to stay here tonight. We'll probably leave tomorrow. I'm exhausted. She said, I know you are, baby. She looked at me. My mom real good about like doing a good poker face because she didn't like get scared. She didn't get startled. But I kind of looked down like this, like I had the hat on, but I kept my head down. And I was like, I'm tired, mama, but I can talk about it tomorrow. And she said, it's okay, baby. I know you're tired. And she said, but I could hear something wasn't right when you called me. She said, I just couldn't go to sleep. That made me feel so safe because I was so scared. I thought he was going to find a ride out there and get me. And she waited till the next day. But she said, I know all about a jealous man. She said, I've been knowing he was jealous. But I really couldn't say anything because you had to learn and I didn't want you to push away from me. She said, but if I knew that it was to this level, I would have told you. It just ain't nothing like a mother's love. So I went to sleep. And when I woke up the next morning, my phone was going crazy because it was the victim's advocate. So the police department and CSI had already told her about my situation. And she was like, you okay? I heard they took you to your mom. And like just asked me a ton of questions. And then she said, it's my understanding that you were holding your baby while he was hitting you. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, you already had a charge of domestic violence. She said, but it takes it up to criminal domestic violence where he could be facing 10 years in jail. She was like, because he had the child endangerment. She said, we need you to do a favor, do us a favor. Are you going to stay to your mom's house? And I was like, nah, I gotta go back to the city. Like, I had no car. I still had school. She said, you think he'll answer the phone if you call him? And I said, yeah, he would. I said, because he's been calling me and I just didn't answer. And she said, good. She said, you think he'll meet you somewhere? I said, yeah. She said, where do you think he'll meet you? She said, let me let you know it has to be a public place. She was like, so he can't meet you at the house. I said, okay. I said, well, he know I go to the library often. I said, so maybe I can get him to meet me at the library. She said, okay. She said, what time you think you're going to go? So long story short, we pretty much framed him where there were non-uniform police officers scattered throughout the library. And I told him exactly where to meet me. And when I sat down, They came in along with the regular uniformed police officers and they locked him up. I thought I was going to share more stories with y'all, but I didn't realize it was going to be such a struggle because it just hadn't been. I thought I had healed. I think it's just difficult because I envision myself just talking to my camera, but so many times y'all reach back out to me. Y'all subscribe to my email list. Y'all come on my lives. I know y'all are real people. And so I'm being vulnerable. But I'm being vulnerable because I'm hoping that I can save at least one other person. If they talking crazy, if they trying to separate you from all resources, family, money, whatever, y'all get help. By the time they start laying hands on you, get the hell out of there. Obviously, I made it through, but I wore this shirt because Moxie Life, which is a planner that I absolutely love, made the best shirt in my opinion. Trust in the power of your future self. And it's my future self that got me to the point where I can share this story with y'all. Because that was one of 3 times he attempted to kill me. I will share others. If somebody hurting your family member and you know about it, please don't judge them. Just help them. Don't hover over them. Send them resources. Set them up a phone when this person doesn't know it's there, but your person who's being victimized knows. Have money available for them. Pay for an Uber ride. Don't ask questions. Let them just come out and tell you. I hope I help somebody. And it's so weird because normally I end my videos by saying, for those of you who are new, I hope that you found value in this video. For those of you who are returning, I appreciate you supporting me. And I can't wait to see y'all on the next video. I can't wait to see y'all on the next video, but it's gonna take me a minute.